Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their new books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about their new Star Wars TV shows, their Star Wars movies that are currently in the works by creators out there like Favreau, Filoni, Lucas, and other people stepping on board over at Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new universe between George, John, and Dave is that what they are about to do is that they are planning to create multiple retcons across the Skywalker saga, catering of course to the prequels, originals, and yes, even the sequel trilogy is set to have the most amount of retcons provided by both John and Dave Filoni. Now that brings us to where we are right now. Currently, John and Dave are working on over a dozen projects. Their hands are tied. They are very busy working around the clock, making sure that they are going to stay true to George Lucas's vision and sticking to the philosophy of Star Wars and what it was meant to stand for. Now, given that, of course, there are a lot of changes coming our way, between, of course, George, John, and Dave, really raising the bar when it comes to Star Wars and really changing the game, so to speak. Now, with that being said, of course, one major retcon that they are about to establish in the official canon under Disney by 2023 is going to have to do with a main sequel trilogy character, of course specifically known as Rey. Now, as you all know, Rey was a very big subject from Episode 7 ending in Episode 9. And JJ and many of those over at Disney could never really fully decide on who they wanted to make her true identity as. Of course, they were bouncing back and forth. However, with both Favreau and Filoni focused on creating retcons for the Star Wars franchise, it's noted, however, that most recently Dave and John made a drastic change to one of the sequel trilogy characters, that being Rey, which was handled by both JJ and Rian Johnson. As of late, Dave and John finalized their plan to give Rey a brand new name in the official Star Wars canon. One of the big changes right now is that Rey will be connected to both the Kenobi and Palpatine bloodline in the Star Wars franchise. However, both John and Dave have settled that Rey's real name will be simply known as Qi'ra in the official new canon that is going to begin sometime next year. Now further, it's noted that they got this idea from JJ's original script from The Force Awakens, where Rey was named Qi'ra. The plan to make it canon that Rey is just a cover name, an alias, so you speak, of course, in the new upcoming stories that will be told. Now, her true backstory is said to have large connections to the world of Coruscant. Rey was a name given to her by her parents to hide her from Palpatine and any other bounty hunters looking for her across the galaxy. So, let me just pause here for a second. Now, the thing about this, and we talked about this a couple of times throughout the past couple of months of how John and Dave have been planning all these major retcons for Rey because they are creating a post-Episode 9 series that's going to feature the new generation of Jedi, the new Jedi Order, and, yes, even cameos of Rey coming into the equation. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of things, happening between George, John, and Dave, is that they're really trying to settle everything related to Rey being a part of these new retcons, a part of these new Star Wars stories. Now, some fans may not like that. Some fans may very well be, very off, put about that, or very standoffish about sequel trilogy characters being a focus. The thing is, what John and Dave are about to do is that they are about to re-establish Rey. They're going to give us their version of the character, essentially. And that, I think, is something, worth seeking. Because as long as they're able to make the character grounded and original and just completely reformed, I think it's going to be worth a watch. Now, this is also going to be done in books and comics and novels, etc. That's going to set up the canon before the post-Episode 9 series is going to launch on Disney Plus in the next couple of years. So having Rey be a cover name over her true name known as Qi'ra, I think it's a very interesting way to kind of make it the fact that she was never able to be found, easily at least, by Palpatine or by Ochi or by other bounty hunters across the galaxy, you name it. Now, of course, there are a lot of other avenues that they could explore that's going to work in John and Dave's favor. So, with that being said, where we are right now, this is where things begin to progress. So, of course, on top of all of that, Disney, of course, executives are trying to create a plan that all future merchandise will even label her as Kira instead of Rey to truly make the name familiar to all Star Wars fans. Daisy Ridley has already been hired again to appear in multiple cameos for new live-action Star Wars shows after Episode 9 and is even in the talks to appear in a post-Episode 9 movie. So just be aware that everything related to John and Dave here, creating these retcons, making it very known to the fan base that they are going to be making Rey a more grounded character, more involved. She is going to have that bloodline attached to both the Palpatines and the Kenobis. Now, we already discussed about their plan of what they're doing with Kenobi is that they are making a canon about Kenobi's brother being essentially the true connection to Rey as a character. Now, we discussed the whole family tree a couple of weeks ago. It is a very involved thing that John and Dave are going over as we speak. Even Jon Favreau specifically instructed Deborah Chow to name drop, or just make Kenobi reference, I should say, that he may have had a brother in the Kenobi series. He did that on purpose for this sole reason. Now, of course, a lot of fans are going to say, is this really necessary? Is it really all that necessary to make Rey's real name as Kira and make Rey the cover name or an alias, if you will? Now, I for one think it's a great idea. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Kira is a more Star Wars-y name, if you will, than Rey. I think it fits more in with the overall, stretch of the Star Wars universe and how it really shapes itself out to be. Now, we're already in the very beginning of November. We're getting closer to February 22nd, which is when they are aiming to drop The Mandalorian Season 3. This is when they want to unveil The Mandalorian Season 3. This is when they want to begin teasing, of course, new revelations related to Grogu, his true identity, all that fun stuff. So a lot of that is going to be explored as well. So keep in mind that there's a lot of things on the horizon right now. There's a lot of avenues and pathways that John and Dave are going to embrace, and this is just one of them. Daisy Ridley has already been in the talks and has already been signing up for an Episode 9 project or a post-Episode 9 series that's going to lead to, of course, other cameos, so to speak, as well. So, with that being said, I think that where we stand today between John and Dave, they're really focused, they have ambitions, they have goals in mind, and they're going to really try their best to make those goals happen. So, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night